It's late at night in Manhattan, the kind of quiet where the buildings don't sleep, they just hum. On November 30th, 1989, a woman named Linda Napolitano says she woke up in her apartment and realized she wasn't alone. Not someone broke in alone. Not the heater made a noise alone. She claims there were 3 small figures in her bedroom, close enough to be real, close enough to be impossible. And then, she says, the impossible happened with the bluntness of a slammed door, a blue beam of light, a force pulling her upward, a sensation of being lifted through a window from a high floor, over the city into something waiting above the streets. Think about that for a second. Not a lonely road in the desert, not a dark country field, a high-rise in the middle of one of the most crowded places on Earth. So here's the question that made this story famous. If something like that happened in Manhattan, wouldn't someone see it? Linda's story didn't stay private for long. It found its way to Bud Hopkins, a well-known UFO investigator at the time. He didn't treat her claim like a campfire tale. He treated it like a case file. He listened, documented, and then pushed the detail that turned one person's experience into a cultural bomb. He said there were witnesses, not 1, not 2, more than 20. And among them the most cinematic detail of all, 2 men described as bodyguards for an unnamed important figure, allegedly watching from a nearby location as Linda floated upward into a craft over the city, somewhere around the Brooklyn Bridge area. It's the kind of detail that grabs you by the collar, because it's not just I saw lights, it's people with power saw it too. But here's the catch, and it's the reason this story never settles into the ground. If you claim there were many witnesses, where are they? Why are they unnamed? Why are they slippery? Why does the story feel both huge and strangely unconfirmable? As the years pass, Linda's account doesn't simply fade into the background. It grows more complicated, more contested, more haunted, not just by what she says happened, but by how the people around her respond to it. That's where the story splits into 2 tracks, belief and doubt. On the belief side, a woman says something unimaginable happened to her, and she's certain it did. On the doubt side, critics argue that memory is fragile, suggestion is powerful, and once a story gains momentum, it can start shaping the people inside it. One of the most prominent skeptics connected to this case is Carol Rainey, who has argued that the case was built on unreliable testimony, and that the investigation itself may have become part of the problem, blurring the line between discovery and construction. And now we're at the heart of why this story is still so magnetic. Because it forces you into uncomfortable questions no matter what you believe. If Linda is telling the truth, then you're left with a terrifying possibility that something can reach into the most surveilled, populated city in America and take someone anyway. But if she isn't, you're left with an entirely different horror. That a person's life can be reshaped by a story that becomes bigger than them. And once it's big enough, it starts feeding on everyone nearby. So what is this case really? A genuine encounter? A myth built from fear and attention? A misunderstanding that hardened into certainty? Or something stranger? A story that tells you less about aliens and more about us? Because here's the final question I want you to sit with. If you personally experienced something you couldn't explain, something that shattered your sense of reality, how would you prove it to anyone? And if you couldn't prove it, would you still be sure? That's the Manhattan alien abduction story. Not just a claim of beings and beams in a night over New York. It's a collision between memory, mystery, and the desperate human need for an answer that stays still. And this is why it won't let go. Because in the end, the scariest part isn't what might be in the sky. It's the possibility that the truth can hover right above a city full of witnesses and still never land.